wherein the nurturing of a child, wherein the question on parenthood is answered. Not every questions you can expect in the question paper, but yes, I can promise you one of these can be asked on too. You can answer the questions the way you want, only make sure that the meanings aren't changed. It doesn't matter what you write, it matters how you write, with what ideologies you are writing. Hi everyone. I don't find a purpose to knock at your door because you have opened it yesterday, and this is one of the best reasons to mention about. With an embarkment of Romeo and Juliet's question and answer session, I don't think so there would be any perplexity in understanding the questions and its answers, because while you have the text, while you have watched the videos, there is no question mark at all. And if that persists also, here we are under the title Vidyashram, the Temple of Excellence, serving you at your purpose of fulfilling your dreams. And that dream starts here and ends here, only to take a colorful flight. So when I say, children, what comes to your mind? Don't you feel that I should wish you Happy Children's Day? Isn't it? So you all are children. You would have been nurtured in such a way in a very secure and protected family. Your parents would have imposed their thoughts. You would have felt very irritated also. But here, yet there is another contradict to your understanding. Khalil Gibran takes children's side to state a very philosophical question, and also there is a prophet to answer. This is a philosophical poem wherein the nurturing of a child, wherein the question on parenthood is answered. So why do we make it very late? I have already taught you yesterday, and that will be same in my latter of the classes also. We are focusing on the pattern of examination. All the questions will be answered in my perception. But I would believe you all are wise enough to answer the way you have to. I've told you, not only a word that makes an answer. Your answer should fall under a sentence. That's what keeps it very crisp and precise. So let's start with the comprehension of those, wherein Khalil Gibran gives a very empathetic view to parenthood. As I have introduced you, he is a philosopher and also throws an idea on philosophy. So I have a question. What do most of you do when you get into works out in gym? What do? Don't you warm up your body? So here, before we ponder on to the question and answer session, I come with the proverb or thought-provoking quotes. And that's today Khalil Gibran's assertion. To be little, you have to be little. To be little, you have to be little. When I term little, it's not the quantity he's talking about. To be little in the sense to insult others. Yesterday, I had given you a homework. What does that means when it says all that glitters is not gold? Hope you would have given a second thought. But alas, I can't question you. I can't punish you, isn't it? But here I'll answer your questions. I want you to give a thought onto this as well. This would be my perception. To be little in the sense to insult someone. You have to be little. When you see others snubbed, when you insult others, you stand as little as your small character. In the other way around, it says that we have to accept people as they are. We should not insult others. Somebody's drawback should not be our strength. Somebody's weakness should not be our strength. When you're insulting others, it shows what sort of cheap character you are. So let's be healthy. Let's appreciate others' work as well. That's what Khalil Gibran has to say. So I repeat, to be little in the sense it's not being in quantity. Okay, it means in quality in the sense that you should not insult others. You should not see others as deprived. When you insult others, just check your character, just check your nature, how small you are in your nature. So this is the warm-up for you. All right. So I want you to give a second thought onto this. Imbibe this quality. Unless you are good to yourself, unless you are good to the society, whatever the education you acquire, it's null, it's void and empty, which cannot serve the purpose of the society. So, without further ado, let's get into the comprehension one, that is 1 marks question and answers. So, what is that you have in your question paper? Not every questions you can expect in the question paper, but yes, I can promise you one of these can be asked on too. So what is the first question are we discussing? And a woman, it starts in a very objectified manner or in a very abrupt manner. The poem starts this way. If you remember, you would have watched my video. I don't want to get subjugated when you nod your head no. I would want yes. Unless you watch my videos on children, it's futile that you sit in the question and answer class. I feel very subjugated and insulted. And you remember my first assertion, to be little, you should be really very little. So I don't want that. Hold yourself in pride as the notion of a student and answer me. And a woman who held a babe. I have told you what is the meaning of babe. It's not that what you think of babe in the sense baby. Against her bosom, bosom close to her heart. It says that she is nursing her child. Speak to us of children is what she says. Speak to us of children. So what does this mean is what? And he said, here he refers to he, who is he? So I have told you, a woman who is nursing her infant asks a prophet. Who is the prophet? One who is enlightened, one who is equivalent to God, one who is a messenger of God. So what does she question? That who are my children? So how do you define being a children? So what he has to answer, that's what he refers to. And he said, so here he refers to whom? So he refers to prophet. So every time there is no hint here. Yesterday, or if I have to say in my previous session, I had given you hints only because for your understanding. So that it's an extract. You should not be perplexed or confused when it comes to the soliloquy of Romeo and Juliet. Alright? So here he refers to the prophet. So simple as such, when you write an answer, you have to be crisp enough. You can't only write the prophet. Even though the question paper would have told or instructed, write in a word, and again there would be another one or a sentence. I would prefer you to go to the other word, that is sentence. So you have to write in the poem on children, he refers to the prophet and underline the prophet. So every time in a sentence, underline the answer. So that can be very impressive. That's what we say. First impression is the best impression, and that's what we anticipate as well. So here, next question. Hope this is clear to you. Very simple, very straight. Next, your children are not your children means they can give you a comprehensive type, they can give you multiple choice also. But alas, if you are left without the questions further or answers further, you will have to have that notion. That's why we say texts are must. Keep a text alongside. Whenever I discuss the question and answers, make sure that you know the answer prior. In my pre-cap, I have told you to prepare on children. So I hope that you wouldn't have subjugated me in that matter and you have to answer me. I'll wait for your answer. Jokes apart. Now when the second question poses, your children are not your children means, what does prophet mean by that? When the woman who is nursing her child into her bosom, very close to her bosom, when she asks, who are my children? What do you have to say about my children? That's where he gives a very straight answer. Your children are not your children. So what does that mean philosophically? It means that you cannot have your rights on your children. They are the children of future. So you can have your own thoughts onto this. As this poem is philosophical, you all are mature enough to understand philosophy. When I say philosophy, philosophy is nothing but the truth of life. It's a literature that is derived out of truth of life. And you have to be precise enough in answering also. Here you can write your notion. It means that children have acquired their future out of their parents. They have come through you, they have come from you, but they don't belong to you because they hold their own identity. So here you can say that when the prophet asserts your children are not your children, it means that every child or children holds their own identity is what you ought to answer. Next, they come through you but are not from you means, it means that you cannot impose your intellect onto them. You cannot straight mark your impositions. It means that your children are not your children, and also they might come from you. Why might in parenthesis? They come from you, but they belong to the future. You cannot state themselves, you cannot own them as a property, because children are not materialistic in nature. That's what they have to say. The fourth question, according to the prophet, you have to remember, prophet is one who is answering the woman. According to the prophet, what may be given to the children? What can be given to them? We can give them knowledge. We can give them education. We can give them all the happiness. But we cannot impose our intellect onto them. We cannot impose our ideologies to them. In a very simple sentence, if you go through the text, you can frame your own answers. So that's what it has to say in the fourth question. Remember this prophet and woman, because it's only the woman would have asked a question. She asked only one question, and prophet has elaborated her ideologies in a philosophical way. Next, their souls. There refers to children. The child's soul or the children's souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. When I say house of tomorrow, it means future. Tomorrow is the next day. So today is the present. Yesterday, what do you say yesterday as? It has a past tense. Past tense, present tense, and tomorrow is future. So the answer lies here. Their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow means there are two answers. Children belong to the future. Very simple and straight. Next, in a philosophical way, children have a different vision of life. So which one would you prefer? A very straight question or in a very philosophical way? It only asked, be very precise. Their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. You have to concentrate only house of tomorrow. So I have discussed tomorrow means. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow means future. So it's very a direct question. It's a very direct question stating children belong to the future. So which one would you choose? You choose this. Straight yet very philosophical here also. I don't say that this is wrong, but this is not an apt answer to the question asked. Is that clear? I can imagine you nodding yes. Next, sixth question. Whom does the word bows refer to? In my video, if you would have watched, I would have told you, you pronounce this as rao and not ro. It's bow and not bow. What is bow? We say take a bow. This is what it is known as. And also this is not that salutation bow. This is bow and arrow. But the pronunciation remains the same. While you give a bow, while you take a bow, also it is bow. And next, when you talk about arrow and bow, it is bow. So whom does the word bows refer to? What is an arrow? Who is an arrow? It is a parent who is an arrow. Who is a bow? It is only, who is the one? Bow and arrow refers to parents and children. Alright. And who is an archer? Archer is a god. So here you have to be very precise enough. I would want you to go back to your text, underline the important words and then refer this to one. Alright. And next, what does the phrase living arrows refer to? Philosophical again. Living arrows refers to parenthood. In a very philosophical way, living arrows refer to parenthood. A parent's duty is only to educate their child. A parent's duty is to give all the good culture related. But it doesn't mean that you have to impose your ideologies onto them. You cannot impose your intellect onto them. And you cannot force your children to do anything. This is a frame of intellect, or this is a phrase of philosophy that Khalil Gibran is talking about. So here, living arrows in your text might be very crisp. But when we come philosophically, it means to the way of parenthood. So it can refer to a parent's parenthood as well. Next, who is the archer in the poem? Answered you in the prior. That's archer refers to God. How? It's the one who is holding the bow. And who is an arrow? The arrow is the child. The children refers to an arrow. What is the bow? The bow where an archer is holding, and the archer is referring to God. You cannot get confused in between bow, arrow and an archer. Okay, next. Whom does God use as his instrument to send living arrows to the earth? Whom does he send? He sends mother. He sends parents. That's what he says, God cannot be everywhere. So thou, he created mother. But here, he doesn't only talk about mothers. He also talks about parents. So when we say parent, it refers to both a mother and a father. So both play a very pivotal role in crafting a child's future. And when he states that you can actually give it in your own sentence, you need not to rely upon your textbook as well. Once you understood the philosophy of the ideology or philosophy of the poem, you can write it in your own words. I repeat the answer for you. Whom does God use as his instrument? Use as his instrument. His refers to God. What is an instrument here as his instrument? Instrument refers to parents. To send living arrows to the earth. So, the instrument refers to a parent. Once you read the poem, you will understand it very clearly. Next question. Why does God bend the parents with all his might? What is the meaning of might? Might means power or prowess. Power is might with all strength, so that the bow can reach or the arrow can reach the future very swiftly. With the help of a mother or with the help of parents, God being an archer, he wants to swift away the arrow so that it reaches correctly to the point of success. It only depends on parents how they nurture their child. The more lenient you are, the chances are the children can get even evacuated from their future, or they get distracted from the roads, in the sense that parents have to take the roads not taken. They have to do their duty, but keeping in mind the limitations of doing so. Next, what brings children to the earth? What brings children to the earth? What purpose? What is that purpose that children come to earth? So that they belong to the future, so that they can achieve their dreams. In simple words, if I have to say, so that they can know their motive of life. And what is your motive of living? Is that to become a doctor, to serve the society, engineer, to construct buildings so that everybody dwells, a teacher to impart the best education? What is that? There are much of the professions. What is your purpose? The first purpose is to serve mankind. Forget about the society. Forget about the earth. Forget about the globe. The first thing, the motive that you are born is only to serve the mankind. And once you serve mankind, your life becomes fruitful. That's what it means. Next question. Why shouldn't parents give their thoughts to their children? It need not to be the same. We say that generation gap. When I try to impose my ideologies on someone, they might think that it's not your age. We have surpassed the generation. So thoughts and ideologies different from person to person, years and eras, generation to generation. So we cannot impose our ideas on children because they dwell in tomorrow. The more reasons that we tend to impose our ideas on children, the more the distracted they are. So let's not impose our ideas on them, because they ought to live their way they want. Next, who dwell in the house of tomorrow? Children dwell in the house of tomorrow. There is a repetition of the question, but in the very other way round. I've discussed you in a comprehension way or in the multiple choice question, isn't it? In the same way, who dwell in the house of tomorrow? Children dwell in the house of tomorrow, or you can say the dreams of children dwell in the house of tomorrow. I can tell you one advantage of philosophical poem. You can conclude the way you want. You can answer the questions the way you want, only make sure that the meanings aren't changed. That's the beauty of poetry. You can critically examine a poem. You can critically analyze the poem. You can jot it down without changing the meaning and the sentence. So what is next taught to you? And this takes me to the 4 marks questions. The first one. Why does the prophet categorically, okay, when they state category, what are the 3 types of category he's talking about? He's talking about the category of a woman, that's a mother. The category of prophet, that's a invoice of a god. And the category of children who dwells in future. So you can see 3 categories, that is an archer, bow and arrow. So he distinguishes or he juxtaposes three categories, and that category state your children are not your children. So here is the thing that most of the students get confused. There is nothing that you have to bother about. Make sure that you know the theme of the poem. You have to have an ideology like what to add into this. You can't write summary. I don't want summary here at all. No lecturers would want you to have summary in the exam sheets. Nothing. You have to have the theme, the quality, the qualitative answer that bothers. So here you have to represent categorically. You have to explain about God being an archer, bow a parent, and arrow the children. So you have to categorize accordingly and say what is the message that the prophet is throwing or imposing or bestowing onto a mother. And that's where you can wind it up. Take my notion. I wouldn't want, or most of the wise teachers wouldn't want quantity. What they need is quality. A qualitative answer of 1.5 leaf would be suffice, and that will serve your purpose also. Mind you, it doesn't matter what you write. It matters how you write, with what ideologies you are writing. I have been discussing this. Whenever you write an answer, start with an introduction. Underline the word introduction. Give a very precise statement, and next come to synopsis. Start the synopsis with a quotation, the first starting couplets, and next come to conclusion. And conclusion, you have to spread a message. So the three juxtaposed answer would fetch you marks, and that is quite very suffice, isn't it? So here also you have to follow the same. You have to be thematically representing. You have to write who is an archer. I can't hear you saying this. It's a god. It's God that who is playing a role of an archer. Arrow, it's children. Bow, it's a parent. Or if you look into the text, you will have your own ideologies onto this also. We cannot say that only with the support of a bow the child can reach. Other than that, the bow also has to have an ideology of reaching success. Alright, so here you have to categorize. And the last one, what does the metaphor? I have told you what is a metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech. For example, here something comes very alive. For example, I don't say that he is like a devil. When I use like, it means a simile. There is a comparison. But in metaphor, we say he is a devil. So he has personified, or he has the quality of being a devil. So that's why metaphor. Metaphor is the exactness or duality of personality, and that's what we call as metaphor. It's one of the figures of speech. Bows and arrows signify with regard to parent-children relationship. So who would know better than we, isn't it? We all know the relationship of a parent and a child. A mother with her son or daughter, a father with his son and daughters. So that's a very clean and pure relationship that one can talk about, and also that's a relationship of chastity is what we say. So what is that you have to write? So he represents bows and arrows also. So bow refers to a parent. See here, no confusion at all. The first is bow, the first is parent. Children refers to arrow, the second is arrow, the second is children. So it's understood, no confusion at all. So bow refers to parent, arrow refers to children. So that's where you have to be wise enough. If you're confused, who is an archer, who is a bow, who is an arrow, here the answer lies. So read the question very clearly. So here you have to give a metaphor, how parents serve the purpose of parenthood. How can a parent bestow the best quality, his or her quality, onto a children or onto a child. So this is where it acts. So I believe that the 4 marks question should be elaborated with 3 juxtaposed. One is introduction, synopsis and conclusion. And you have to spread a message in conclusive part. One more thing. When I ask you, what is this? If you can see this, what is this? You might have many answers. Some might say it's a podium. Some might say it's just a stand. Some might say it's an accessory stool. But I say this is a rostrum. This is a rostrum. R-O-S-T-R-U-M. This is not a podium because it's not made of wooden blocks and a mic attached. This is not just a stand because it has an identity. And also, when I say rostrum, it's my perception. So what does this mean? This means that everyone has their own way of thinking. Everyone has their own way of answering. So do in real life also. So do in the question paper also. So it need not to be my perception serving the answers. It can be yours. So think philosophically. I believe you have stepped into second PUC. You all are mature enough to understand good and bad. So why not the answers? So you can have that capability as well. So next, let's check it out in the question paper. This is a kind of question paper that you can anticipate. Alright. So here, the first is Romeo and Juliet. The first play extract is Romeo and Juliet. And next also you have another of the prose, that is Two Deer. And the third one, it has chronologically set. The third poem is On Children. So this is where you find your question, where according to the speaker of On Children do the souls of children dwell. Where does that dwell? It dwells in future. That's what we are ought to answer. So make sure that when they have asked you where according to the speaker, so you have to write according to the speaker of On Children, the souls of children dwell in the future, and underline the future. So that's where the answer is. I repeat, you have no conclusive part, only in words. You have to frame it in a sentence. And in the 4-mark question, again it's in the third one. The third question says that how should parents raise their children according to the speaker of On Children? Look the similarity here. It has a chronologically come according to your text. So the second question is what made the king of Monaco? That is a prose one if you remember. So this is only for your reference. The first question is Romeo, that is Romeo and Juliet. The third question is about On Children. So this is how you can expect your question paper. And in every of the classes, I'll discuss the question paper. I'll show you where and how it is situated. And in my next class, what are we studying? We are studying When You Are Old, a love poem again. Very interesting though, but the question paper or the discussion of question and answers would be very different, wherein the two of the former classes would be very different from the latter one, or the latter of the classes would be two very different from the former one. The last of the two classes till today, that is Romeo and Juliet and On Children, we have only discussed the questions wherein I have answered so that you will have an idea as how to answer. And the latter classes would follow with the answers as well. All the sessions from now would follow with question and answers, because I believe it's very good enough for you to understand this question and answers session. So what are we waiting for? I pray God that all your question paper is set very easily as English does. After all, English is a very interesting subject. You agree, you don't agree at all, or you disagree. It doesn't matter as long as you love your English classes. Here's Vidyashram for you. Standard retained on learning. Let's not sit idle. Let's prevail our work doing. Until then, I'll see you. Bye-bye.